Hey, welcome. So if you're a developer, you've almost certainly used a component library before. But today, we're going to go a little deeper. We're not just talking about using one, we're talking about actually building one from the ground up. And trust me, this is a game changer for any team that wants to stop wasting time and really start scaling their front-end work. So let's dive right in. This right here, this quote is pretty much the entire point of what we're talking about today. It's really a call to action. It's about shifting your mindset away from those quick, short-term fixes that always lead to a messy, tangled code base, and toward building a long-term, scalable architecture. It's the difference between being a code copier and a true system builder. So let's be real for a second. Does this sound familiar to you? You need a new button, so you hunt one down in another part of the app, you copy and paste the code, and then you just tweak it a little bit. Fast forward a few months, and you've got like 10 different versions of what's supposed to be your primary button. Now, a simple design update means you're facing this massive, painful refactor. That kind of chaos, it's just a huge drag on your team's productivity. But what if you could actually escape that chaos? Well, you can. The solution is to start thinking systemically. It's all about moving away from all those disconnected one-off pieces of UI and into a controlled, predictable, and totally unified system. And this is what that system looks like in practice. A well-built component library isn't some nice-to-have luxury. For any team that really wants to grow, it's absolutely non-negotiable. It becomes the one single source of truth for your entire UI. Think about it. You update a button in the library, and that change instantly propagates everywhere that button is used. This is how you get real consistency, incredible development speed, and true scalability. Okay, so how do we actually build this thing? It might sound complex, but the core architectural ideas are surprisingly simple. We're going to break down the two most important building blocks you need to know: props and tokens. First up, props. And you're probably pretty familiar with these, right? Just think of props as the local remote control for one specific component. They're the API that lets you say, hey, this button should be large, or this one needs an icon, or make this one disabled. They only control a single, isolated instance of a component. Now, here's where things get really powerful. Design tokens. See, if props are the local controls for just one component, design tokens are the global rules for your entire system. They aren't tied to one button or one card. They're abstract variables for all those foundational values, like your primary brand color, your standard spacing unit, or your main body font size. So the workflow for using them is really simple, but it has this huge impact. First, you hunt down any hard-coded value in your CSS, like a hex code for a color. Step 2, you pull that out and give it an abstract name, a token, like color text primary. And finally, you reference that token in your components. So now, instead of being stuck to a specific color, your component is tied to a concept. And this is where the magic happens. Because once you've built your system on top of these tokens instead of hard-coded values, you unlock something incredible. You get theming, including that much requested dark mode, almost for free. And this just illustrates the power perfectly. Because your components reference tokens like color background or color text, you can create a completely different theme just by swapping out the token file. Your color background token can point to white in the light theme and a dark gray in the dark theme. You just flip one switch and boom, the entire application UI transforms instantly. You don't have to change a single component. Okay, so building these components is obviously a massive step, but to make your library a true success that people actually use, you have to treat it like a real product. And that means shipping it professionally so your whole team can easily get their hands on it. This really comes down to 3 key things. First, packaging. You've got to make it dead simple for other developers to just install and use it. Second, documentation. Because if people don't know what components even exist, they're not going to use them. Tools like Storybook are absolutely essential for this. And finally, versioning. You need a disciplined system so that teams can adopt your updates safely without breaking their apps. And when you put all of this together, something really important clicks into place. You're not just cranking out one-off features anymore. You're not just a component developer. By creating this shared, scalable, and professional system, you've really elevated your role. You're now a systems architect, building the very platform that enables everyone else on your team to move faster. So I'll just leave you with this question to think about. Once you stop reinventing the wheel on every single project, once your UI is a predictable and efficient system, and once your team can build new features in hours instead of days, what are you going to create with all of that saved time and energy? The possibilities are pretty exciting to think about.